The May 17th meeting of the Common Council order, please. Would the clerk call the roll?
Councillor Olson. Here. Councillor Bridge. Here. Councillor Bender. Here. Councillor Stenberg. Councillor McDonald. Here. Councillor Joyle. Here. Councillor Finsland. Here. Councillor Herrick. Here. Councillor McKenzie. Here. Councillor Brown. Here. Councillor Nowicki. Here. And Councillor Sather. Here.
I'll ask for consideration of the minutes of the May 3rd council meeting. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Item 5.1 is the 2010 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report.
This time we'll call for a public hearing, and those that wish to speak in favor of may do so now. For the second time, those that may wish to speak in favor of may do so now. And finally, for those that wish to speak in favor of, you may do so now. Hearing none, those opposed may speak now. Those that wish to speak in oppose of the ordinance may speak now. And for the final time, those that wish to speak against may do so now. Hearing none, we call the public hearing to a close.
Item 5.1 is the 2010 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report.
What is the pleasure?
Motion to approve. Second.
Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item 6 is the consent agenda.
Second.
You've heard the motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
Item 7.1, the Finance Director Vito is requesting to purchase a new financial system software package from Springbrook Software.
Motion to approve. Second.
You've heard the motion. Second. Discussion? Director Vito?
I guess I would just open it up for questions. I tried to summarize where we're sitting here as best as I possibly could with our current AS400 operating system that we have, and we've got some, not on the financial side, but on the computer-aided dispatch and, is it records management, Chuck? Yes. And records management. Our current financial software, we have the same for both of those two functions, and the CAD system, we were notified, will no longer be maintained by HTE, our financial software. And so they said we could purchase a new system from them, but we thought, well, this is a good opportunity to meet with the county folks and see if we can't look at our whole entire computer system altogether. And I know in the past it's been somewhat of a hindrance as far as the two finance departments working together, working on totally different software systems that I think if we're both on the same one, I think we can hopefully see some efficiencies there. And the other reason that I made some comments on the AS400 in that I'm not going to get real technical here, but we don't have a lot of people that are trained on the AS400 anymore. In fact, they're leaving, and people that are getting newly trained in the area of computers generally aren't studying the AS400. So we're looking at moving to a Windows-based software that I think will be probably much more user-friendly as well.
Councilor Herrick.
Yeah, Gene, just a couple of questions for you. Going through the information that you gave us to read, I look at a page from Springbrook B1, and on there it shows a total of $577,300. And then I look at the proposals received of $391,158. Can you differentiate between the two and what happened there?
Sure. It is a little bit confusing here. What they, on page B1, that references, the very top number references both the city and the county cost. So our portion would be half of that. And if you go to the final page, B10, what I've done is I've taken the entire cost summary of the Springbrook software, and I've noted what portions of that are just for the city. So you'll see that 50% of that That's that first number on page B10, 125,000. And then there are some modules down below that only the city will be purchasing, and there are some costs like data conversion and implementing and training that the city and the county will share in those. So what I've tried to do on this final page is just lay out for you what only the city costs would be.
Okay, and then one other question. I'm just curious about the, on page B10, I guess it's number 46, utility billing. What is that? What was that going to be
yes.
used for?
Utility billing, we're aiming to use that for the software, the stormwater. And we currently have a pretty, well, I call it cumbersome, but the people at ESD may not call it cumbersome. But we're looking for a system that isn't based on an Access database, which is what they're using right now. And so that's the start of what we wanted to use the utility billing software for, stormwater.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Brown.
Yeah, I just want to thank Gene for considering working with the county, because I think the more opportunities that we have to work together, the better off we're going to be for it. So thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing and seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
7.2, Assistant Public Works Director Getzman is recommending to purchase blacktop mix materials for 2011 from vendors listed based on their submitting price and plant location.
Motion to approve. Second.
Heard the motion. Discussion? Councilor McKenzie?
Yeah, Jeff, maybe you could see about ordering this stuff during a 2-for-1 sale, because we need a lot of it. So,
We certainly do. Yeah, and as soon as it's available, we'll be out putting it in holes, so that's the good news there.
yeah, sounds good.
Councilor Brown?
Yeah, that was my question for Jeff is, if you could just kind of tell the folks when we're going to start and where you're going to start, and give them a little heads up about it.
Yeah, certainly, Councilor. As I think Mayor pointed out probably a week or so ago to the councilors, and I think there was a press release about that same time, we're going to have 2 crews out doing work filling potholes. We'll probably start one northeast and one opposite end of the city in the south, and then work toward each other. They'll work in a contiguous area, so they'll stay in that area until they fix the holes on each street and work street to street, rather than jumping all over town and filling one hole here and one over there. We try to be more effective and more efficient that way. And we found out today that the hot mix plants are starting to fire up this week, and hopefully by the end of the week we'll have some mix, and we can start that process.
Thank you.
Councilor Olson?
Jeff, on this bid from Northland using the Minnesota DOT spec, in the description here, the background, it said that based on the availability of materials, location, work project to mixed plants facility, and the ability to mix make the mix to Wisconsin DOT, were they able to do that for you?
You're talking about Northland?
Yes.
They indicated that they would work on that for us, but they have not had a mix at this point that meets, that's a WISDOT mix. They're strictly mixing MnDOT most of the time.
Okay, so in the description you said you'd be able to use both, but by looking at the price, using the MnDOT spec that may not even meet Wisconsin spec is $3 more. I'm assuming that's a ton?
Right, yep, per ton. Yeah, and given that the other one is not only cheaper, it's generally closer to most of the work we're doing. It depends where we are, but being that it's cheaper, that helps. We would stay with the cheaper one, and the overall cost is based on our trucking costs and the labor costs. Of course, if you got an hour for a truck round versus 10 or 20 minutes, obviously it impacts the cost of the mix we're hauling, but if Northland can't make a Wisconsin mix for us and it's farther away and more expensive, we wouldn't go there.
Yeah, well, it may work in the north end of town where Bob's representing, but if you're not going to be able to make the Wisconsin, is these DOT requirements on city streets, on all city streets?
No, it really isn't. That's the other thing. I mean, for filling holes now, we could use probably either mix. So if it does make sense, we'll probably use a little bit of that MnDOT mix, even if that's what we get.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
7.3, Assistant Public Works Director Getzman is recommending to purchase sand and gravel for 2011 from local suppliers listed based on their submitted prices and locations.
You heard the motion on multiple seconds. Discussion? Councilor Bridge.
How much does a yard of sand weigh?
About 3,000 pounds.
Okay. Well, we still won't be picking any up at Kimmison, will we?
Yeah, there again, it's all of these quotes come in, and whatever makes the most sense for the overall cost is what I would say we would go to. So we have the ability to go to any one of those if their price per ton and our transportation costs work out to be the most favorable.
Further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Item 7.4, Deputy City Clerk Burns is submitting the 2011-2012 preliminary alcohol report, and we need a few different motions from you guys on this report. It's broken down into parts. So Part 1 of the report are the renewal applicants who are in code compliant, and a motion to approve those licenses would be in order.
Heard the motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Part 2 is an original application who is in code compliant, and a motion to approve would be in order.
You've heard the motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Part 3 are the delinquent special assessments and/or personal property taxes. A motion to set the public hearings for June 7th for non-renewal of these licenses would be in order.
Heard the motion and second. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
And Part 4 is special circumstances. Great Lakes Tavern, trade name Shooter Supply, is requesting to waive the 150 hours of non-operation requirement, and also has delinquent special assessments and/or property taxes listed in Part 3. So you need to either A, approve waiving the 150 hours of non-operation and contingent upon paying those delinquencies, or setting a public hearing to consider non-renewal.
Motion to set a public hearing.
You've heard the motion to establish a public hearing. Discussion? Mr. Bridge?
Well, I'm wondering what the situation is that this place hasn't been open for a while, if anybody knows. How long it's not been open, or what the situation is there?
Yeah, I think they've been closed, I think they closed about in February, I guess.
Yeah, I think he indicated to us he closed in January, early January.
Oh.
And he's trying to sell it. If you wanted the license to go with the job.
Yeah, I see that, but, I mean, and certainly anybody would, but, I mean, if it's, is it in the 6 months prior? Well, I mean, if it was January or February, you might have 150 hours, and there's still time to get 150 hours. Why not just open it for a couple of weeks? He can't. Okay, why? Oh, okay.
Any further discussion? The motion's on the floor to set a public hearing. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Item 8.1, Mayor Hagan is requesting to appoint himself as Chair to the Redevelopment Authority of the City of Superior and reappoint Andy Lezak for a term expiring May 2016.
Discussion. Director Vito said she has her plate is full, and I didn't want to buy a bigger plate for her, so I volunteered. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Item 8.2, Mayor Hagan is appointing Vivian Markley to the Urban Forestry Tree Board for a 3-year term expiring May 2014.
Motion and second. Discussion. May I ask, do we have other vacancies on that tree board?
Yes, Mayor, we have one more vacancy on the tree board.
Okay, so
So
we'll-
if interested parties would drop you a line, that'd be great.
We'll try to get the notice out. All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
11.1 is an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Department, amending the traffic code, disabled do not block sidewalk zones by removing 2017 Oaks Avenue.
Heard a motion and second to approve. Discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
11.2 is an ordinance introduced by the Public Works Department, amending the traffic code, disabled parking zones by adding 1422 North 11th Street.
You've heard the motion and second. Is there any discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Motion also carried. We have no business by the public at this moment. Nobody signed up. You've heard the motion and second. All in favor? We stand adjourned.